Okay, this lecture is about how to take notation in chess. And notation is when you write down all the moves. And if you're just learning how to play and you're just playing your friends, you probably don't need to watch this lecture, but you definitely should watch it before you play a chess tournament, because in all chess tournaments, you want to write down your moves. And the point of that is so you can remember your games, and you can go over them later. And if you go over them later, you can understand what you did wrong, and also, you can have them years later, just so you have a copy of them. And but the most important thing is to be able to look at your mistakes and improve upon them. And for that reason, you need to write down the moves. And notation is it's really difficult at first, and it seems like a real big hassle. So you kind of just got to get into it as soon as you can and just figure it out. But this lecture is going to explain how to do that. So first of all, there's A through H and 1 through 8. So this is 1 through 8, as you can see. And the reason in this lecture I included this area of the chess analysis board is because it'll show the moves and the notation. So when you play on the internet, you don't have to take notation because it's going to take it for you. But in a tournament, when you're writing down the moves, you want to take notation, and you have to write it down. So and after, like, it doesn't seem like this, but after just a little bit of practice, like it'll just become really easy to write down notation. It won't even take up any time of your game. So but it is important. So okay, so there's the A through the H files, and the first rank through the 8th rank. The ranks go horizontally and the files go vertically. So when you write down a move, it's called algebraic notation, and it's like you're on a grid, and so you always write down the square that the piece moves to. So first, I'll make a knight move. So now, if you know, it goes NF3. So the square, if you go A, B, C, D, E, F, and then 1, 2, 3, 3. So you also, if you can, you want to use one of those chessboards. Well, when you're playing in a tournament, you want to use a chessboard that has the letters on the sides. So the reason it's an N, and you capitalize it too, is because well, knight starts with a K, but K is for king, so you want to use N. So what's this? NF6, the 6th rank in the F file. So okay, now to go through, to make a bishop move, it's B, a rook move, it's R, and a queen move, it's Q. These are all capital letters. A king move, it's K. A knight move, it's N. And now, when you make a pawn move, you don't have to write P, because that's just the rule, is that you don't have to write the P. So this will be, all you do is you just write the square the pawn moves to. So here you see E3. And so on a notation sheet, it's numbered, and so you'll be able to write it down. So I'm just going to keep going through certain examples. Okay, but pawn, okay, now capturing, that's something, when someone captures another piece, you want to write X. So D5, let's say pawn to C4. So yeah, that's why you go D5. That's how you describe the pawn move, is you say D5. Because pawns, you don't have to write the letter. So in this position, if we wanted the move, this pawn capturing this pawn, it's now because the pawn is moving from one file to another file, we do want to write the file that it starts on. So we would write D for the D file takes C4. So like, for example, the reason we don't write the D with this move right here, the reason we don't write D to the D pawn to D4 or D5, and we just write D5, is because the pawn is staying on the same file. But when the pawn moves to another file, you write D takes with X, and then you just go C4. That's all you have to do. And so now, if this bishop were to capture here, it's bishop X C4. So and now there's just a few others. So like we could go through en passant. So uh, so first, so look, knight to c6, d4. Let's just say they go back just for the sake of an example. Okay, pawn to d5. Now this move right here, pawn to e5, how it would just be written down pawn, just e5. But now, let's say they wanted to capture and go en passant, which there's a lecture on en passant. Now that would be marked as d takes e6. And now it's good to write that the letter, because like, okay, let's say we have a position like this, right? And both pawns can capture. So now if it was the b pawn, you write b takes c6, and if it was the d pawn, you write d takes c6. So that's important. And then another thing, okay, now in this position we notice, okay, look, this knight can come here and this knight can come here. So if we were to move this knight here and we wrote n, capital N, d2, then if we were going over it later, we actually wouldn't know which knight was moving there, because both knights can move there. So in this position, if you notice, it's n f to d2. You write the file that it's on, so that way you know it's the knight on the f file that moved to d2, not the knight on the b file that moved to d2. And so now, you know that you can. This also is true with like the rooks. Let's just make up a position. This is not at all serious. It's just so you can see an example. And if you do look, you can see the moves are being written down. Okay, so now in this position, so look, knight b to d7 instead of knight f to d7. And here I can just see knight f to d7. So now in this position, what if the rook were to move here? How would you write it down? You would write down rook h to a4. But now what if we were to think, okay, so this one, rook a to a4. So now let's say in this position, but what if this rook were to move here? How would we know, since both rooks, so this would be rook a to d4, but I'm sorry, I wanted to go through this position. Okay. Now in this position, let's say this rook were to move here. How do we know which rook? It will be rook 4 to a3, or and this would be rook 1 to a3. So it's really important you write down which piece is which, so you remember everything. And it's kind of like they say that playing chess uses the same part of your brain that you use to learn another language. It's kind of like learning another language. It feels like completely like difficult at first, but then it actually, you're able to think in terms of notation and squares, like I can just, you know, like I can know that like a bishop on h3 can move to c8, like, because this is h3 to c8, like the g1 square is connected to the b6 square, just things like that. So it gets easier. So don't worry about it, but it's important to get good at this. And when you'll really start to be able to take notation easier when you go through chess books and go through the moves in chess books. So. Things. So castling, you write down 0-0 when it's castling kingside. When you castle queenside, so let's say in this position, if black were to castle queenside, so white castles kingside 0-0. Castling the other way, it's 0-0-0. Okay, and now another thing is putting someone in check in this position. Bishop to a6, check. To signify check, you mark plus. And if it were to be a position where you get checkmate, I'll go through that. These are hypothetical moves just for the purpose of writing them down. Okay, queen to b7. To write checkmate, you write the number sign. So if you can see that, it's the number sign. So I think that's all of them. And then also, yeah, like to signify white one is 1-0. To signify black one is 0-1, and to signify draw is 1/2-1/2. So that's what you just write on your notation sheet at the end of the game. So this would be 1-0 because white won.